This has to do with my next video. Like, I'm gonna post a video, but I wanted to talk about it first. So, you'll have to watch my next one first before this one. That's how that goes. The video I'm gonna post is of a chipmunk attacking a baby bird. And I object. And it disrupts the situation. I don't know how it all turns out, but I keep the video going while I'm going, and when I have my, because I put my phone down because I'm trying to deal with the situation, and the bird in my hand flew off. The mama bird came down, tried to attack me. The baby bird flew off. The squirrel, or the chipmunk was long gone, and the baby bird flew, I'm assuming for the first time, probably with a piece of its back chewed out. Welcome, as Will Ferrell says in The Candidate, welcome to the fucking show. And it's the chipmunk, or one of the chipmunks I've been befriending over the last month. And when I screamed no, like, it just came out, like I wasn't trying to do anything. But it's a solid reminder. Kind of like there's like one scene, or maybe a couple, but specifically one scene in the movie Epic. I think it's a Disney movie, where this girl is, who has been shrunk, is trying to be all cutesy with this mouse who is towering over her. Then the mouse tries to eat her. It broke my heart. It broke my heart because the beauty I'm trying to grasp to is a beauty that holds the idea of protecting innocence, right? If we can't uphold, justify, and progress not only the motive, but like the cause and the effect. The motive, the cause, and the effect. That's a lot to justify and to enact. A lot. But anyway, I've been talking a little bit about this chipmunk situation lately. And it actually started coming to fruition before I'd started talking about it, and before this job, which I've been at for about a month. I'm closing in on the upstairs. It's a second home that has a second home on it. On the same property, right up the driveway. But I think I've determined there's predominantly, in the space that I occupy between where I park my car on any given day, depending on how many other subcontractors are there or whatever, like, predominantly where I park, it looks like I've primarily befriended one chipmunk. I have a secondary friend chipmunk and a tertiary, very, very far removed kind of friend chipmunk. and they seem to occupy this space. It seems as though there's a very young one, there's a middle-aged one, and an older one. So we could call them 1, 2, and 3 years, roughly. But they're very territorial with each other. In the video that I'm going to post, that I'm talking about now, is of a chipmunk attacking a baby bird. Now here I am being all cutesy, thinking this is going to be some kind of sweet chipmunk bird love hallmark moment. Well, the chipmunk's creeping up, and I'm in this picturesque environment at someone else's second home. Meanwhile, I live in squalor. Not a criticism of the person who's doing better. Just saying, like, oh, this is a nice moment for me in my life, and I'm capturing it on video. Isn't that great? And then the chipmunk, my sweet little friend, viciously, like a lion, rips into this fucking baby bird. So I acted more or less instinctively, but it's hard to say what instinct is when we ourselves. Alright, I'm a man. I'm an animal. I'm a spiritual being. I'm all that shit. Yeah. But it's hard to say what domesticated is. Like, I'm a divine being. Yeah. It's true. Even me. Even this thing. Divine being. Awesome. I'm also a domesticated animal. And I don't like things to get nasty. But anyway, what's super interesting, and it gave me a little bit of pause, is I've been working on my manuscript about, alright, what page is this? 6A. 6A? I had a 7 somewhere. Alright, 6, 5, I know I had a 7. 7. This was something different from before. Alright, so first I'm going to read the poem. I think it's on 4A. Nope, 5. This is how I think I'm going to open the book. I've been working on it. I've been thinking about these little chipmunks. And I've been trying to think how to, like, what would a chipmunk think? What would a chipmunk say? But anyway, this is like, it's like a poem and a prayer and like an oath, and it's vengeance. It's some Old Testament shit. From a chipmunk talking about a hawk that killed its mother, in my imagination. The whole scenario, trying to kind of create a language with English, or a transliteration, or a translation, like a transliteration translation, or a transliteration of an untransliteral language. Shrika. Shrika soul blue, without ears, terrible, Shrika grew. Merka tunch hantu spexum bershu. Scree merka unto. Shrika. Bersu, merka tunch. Shrika bersu. Merka bluber hantu betu real. Bertu Ruru, Bertu Papa and Chip Poopa. Color Sam Bertu Sri Scree Shrika Scree Blue Booba. I know. This is the type of shit I gotta do to stay alive, man. Not to deliver this. Fuck this. But it keeps me in the game. I'm on the sidelines running up and down, out of the game. So anyway, this was the first thing I wrote on page 1, which started the whole bag, and what I just read is a translation of this, right? Which was still far along the way up here, so it still don't totally make sense. But I will say Shrika is a hawk. And it's Chipmunk writing this story. The Sri Ka fell from the floor we can't reach, the sky. In silence, terribly she fell. Milk hand, warned me between colors and Bershun. With her undertooth she cried, Shrika, 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 Bershun, Bershun, Bershun. Shrika, 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 Bershun, Bershun, Bershun. And with her tongue she prodded, Shrika, ear-piercing, Bershun, quiet and close. Milk hand, Merka, mother. Milk hand, a feeder. Milk hand protected me from real, from roo, and from up and chirp up. But for us, the scree of Shrika is the shrill of death. The scree of Shrika is the hawk's that thing a crow does, or a hawk does. Screeka. Ka's bird. In my little symbolism. But anyway, yeah, and then on another page, this is the thing about the video I'm gonna post. Yeah, so on page, I got, 7 pages both sides, and this is 2A, the second side of 2. So right when I was on it, I made this, which I love titles, so far on paper, like in my mind, I've come up with 100 more, but on paper, I probably got about 15 titles, working titles, right? But this is the only one, I think, that I drew a picture for. And this was on the first day of this month, so 8/1, August 1st, and today is the 9th, I think. Yeah, so this was my first book cover of it. Killhawk. With the little chipmunk holding a nut, looking up to the sky. Shrika Toomley. A memoir. So I've spent a lot of time over the last, well before that, thinking about, or, for the last several weeks, I've been thinking a lot about chipmunks and, like, what it would be like to be like them, and, like, how wild and vicious it is. But I'm, like, so encouraged because I've been feeding these chipmunks at this job. I only have one video up on my channel, and like today I was feeding several chipmunks. I fed the one I'd fed before a couple times. I fed a new one from my hand, both from my hand. So like I fed a chipmunk. It was two chipmunks. One of them twice, one of them another time, and then the other one I just threw some shit to because it was too afraid. But um, so like a kind of trust is being built, though obviously quote unquote greed is built in, and they are very territorial. There were the two specifically were fighting, trying to get the seeds. Pumpkin seeds I was throwing down. They love the motherfucking pumpkin seeds. They come right to them. Now, before in the past, I hadn't thrown down no pumpkin seeds. I threw down some popcorn, and chipmunks were like fucking yeah on the popcorn. But once you give them pumpkin seeds, I threw down some popcorn today. No interest. They're climbing over it, crawling over it, sniffing it. Because they got the fucking pumpkin seeds, Now, pumpkin seeds are famous for clearing out intestinal 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 worms. Depending on what day of the month you eat them, I think it matters because it depends on the life cycle of like intestinal worms, you know. Um, but like pumpkin seed oil, very valuable. The minerals, all that, and whatever it has to do with the chemistry. What else, Old school veterinary shit's big on feeding animals pumpkins, horses, feeding horses pumpkins, because they eat the whole pumpkin, which gives them the seeds. It has something to do with the moon. I can't remember what phase of the moon, because it's tied to the way in which the intestinal worms reproduce. But there's this certain stage in the reproduction, like a day or two, a couple days, where give them some of that pumpkin seed oil, and it's just like, wow, they die. So anyway, you can see why chipmunks would prize this so much, instinctually. Because it's weird, like I can't smell pumpkin seeds at all. But when I put out my hand with pumpkin seeds, now they're beginning to trust me and don't just scoot way the fuck off. From like 6 feet away, they're like 6 feet away on pumpkin seeds. Dry, raw, no salt, just raw shelled pumpkin seeds. They can smell that shit a mile away, with concentration, not right off. Plus trust. But anyway, why I drew that, the whole deal of the poem is the idea that, or quote unquote poem or saying that I'm trying to build into this story that I'll probably never write, is that there's this awakened chipmunk whose mother had been killed by a hawk. And the idea of this chipmunk as a little bit more human than a hawk. I would say a chipmunk is legitimately more human than a hawk. I might be wrong. Hawks are closer to dinosaurs, or that's what they say, or what they might say. But and also on the day that I made a video a couple days back of a chipmunk eating out of my hand for the first time that I got on video. And yeah, I didn't take videos today. Sometimes I try to remind myself, there's a lot of shit I don't get on video. That's pretty fucking awesome. But I try to remind myself sometimes, like, to enjoy the moment, and like, not everything is a Kodak moment. And there's a lot of really special things that I've tried to get that I didn't get. And there's a lot of really special things where I was just like, I'm not going to try to get this. I'm going to enjoy it for me. I should probably do that more. But today I saw the little baby bird. It's been sitting up. I showed where I turned my phone and I showed like it's kind of unique. At second homes in this particular region of Vermont, uh, you know, it's pretty popular to have ski items as decoration, like old antique ski items as decoration. I've seen it over and over and over again. It don't happen around here where I live in North Walpole, but it happens up Upper Valley and the greater region surrounding it a lot. So I've seen, you know, and I might be more into it myself if I were a skier. I went skiing once, got my butt kicked, you know, 6th grade. You know, so it's like I don't understand or know the culture, but like I can appreciate it and like pretty awesome shit like physics and moving and being healthy and being outside. That's awesome. And I'm a little bit jealous or envious, but also there's a lot of admiration there too, you know. And I should remind myself to focus on that. But anyway, up these skis are flat against the wall, and the curve of the ski goes up, and there's this little bird's nest where this barn swallow has been protecting her little babies for fucking months, right? So like, I think it was maybe Thursday of last week. I saw the first chick on the ground. I knew it was because it was just sitting there, right? Fucking, it didn't screw off. It was just looking at me all dumb with a wing all fucking cockeyed and being like, brr, but it was pretty motherfucking big. This bird today that I shot a video of that I'm going to post after this video was smaller, but the one I saw like several days ago, pretty plump, pretty big. Don't know what happened to it. It looked pretty healthy. Its feathers looked a lot kind of like tighter than the ones from this one today. There must have been more chicks before. From what I've seen, I'm thinking probably only these two survived, like getting out of the nest. And to be honest, I don't know if either one of them made it. The one I was holding in my hand today, the one I was looking at the other day, I kind of scooted off behind the thing. That's the last I ever saw it, but it might be because it's so big and strong, it like just flew off and everything's fine. You know? This one today got attacked by the chipmunk, and then, you know, I was trying to put it back up in its nest, but like it was too high for me to reach because I'm holding it in my hand like this. So it's like if I could have grabbed it in a certain way and like kind of jumped up a little bit and plucked it in, that might have worked, but it was like sitting in my hand like this, you know, and I'm trying to, and then the mom fucking comes down, and I got attacked back at my folks' house several years, like, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago. I got attacked back at my parents' house. Fucking, they had some bird houses, and kind of in the middle. They have like a 1 acre field, and they own 5 acres. Most of it's swamp, but they got like a 1 acre field. You know, where I grew up for most of my grown upness, and anyway, they put a couple bird houses out, and they got barn swallows. And I remember I went out to look at the garden one time, and the bird houses weren't too far from the garden, and the fucking barn swallows started attacking me. Probably told this story before, but anyway, the big thing of this one, when I thought they were done attacking me, I saw it like I sat down further away where I used to sit with my folks' old cat Daisy from when I was growing up. But anyway, I don't know if it was the mom or the dad. Motherfucker went straight up, way high, way high. To me, it looked like 100 yards. I don't know. But like went up way high up, went way the fuck around, way high up, way the fuck around. And I was trying to follow him the whole way. I'm like kinking my neck. I'm like looking around. And then as soon as he dipped below the tree line, he got lost in the darkness. Because when he's up there on the blue sky, I can see him. But then he came down into the tree line and it was just all brown. That motherfucker And I only knew it when he was right here. That motherfucker came around, flew on the tree line, around the tree line of the 1 acre field at the far end. Came right up, lined up perfect, dead center with the middle of my face, with the little fucking barn swallow razor blade wings flying straight at me, so I couldn't see him. There wasn't nothing there because he was flying flat, flat at me. Little razor blade fucking wings. And before you knew it, he was right here. After he and it, or she and he, whichever one of them it was, like, they'd both been attacking me already. And then he pulled this fucking maneuver and was like right here. And if I wouldn't have gone like this, that fucker would have been right in my fucking face. Pluck out my eye shit, So I ran inside the house. My brother, who I think he'd been away at college, if not, he was just out of college and kind of like not a temporary job, but like he was looking for what for him. I mean, he's much more accomplished than me. He was looking for like a quote unquote real job, and he had what to me would have been like a really good job already. But anyway, so he was around. And I was like, dude, there's some fucking barn swallows. My folks had to tell me. It's not like I know this shit. My mom's good with birds. She bird feeders and shit, and and I was like, you gotta be careful if you go outside because there's like killer fucking eye plucking barn swallows out there, And he's like, oh, which. My brother's usually right. He's my younger brother. He looked up to me when I was a little kid, but he did it right, I did it wrong. But I'm telling you, those barn swallow motherfuckers were crazy. They were attacking the cats, and if I remember correctly, I might not remember correctly. Now I'm probably coloring it with the story in my mind and my memory. I'm probably recoloring it a little bit, leaning toward my direction. That they chased him off the field. Maybe they didn't. But, I mean, that motherfucker was right here. So that's what this kind of bird was, and I've been surprised going in and out of the house every day because it's always sitting up there. It was sitting on the eggs. It's been sitting on the eggs for 2 months. And then, the birds have hatched, and over the last like week and a half or so, it's like cheep, 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 every day. Every day you see those beaks reaching up just a little higher out of that nest, and today they came out. But anyway, the first day I did my chipmunk video, the one that I was feeding earlier in that day at lunchtime, because the video I made was right when I was leaving. I was just walking out to my car. I always put my vacuum in my car at the end of the day because once I had a vacuum emergency where I'd left my vacuum on the job and I didn't have a vacuum at my house. I think I broke glass. I can't even remember what the vacuum emergency was, but like I gotta have my vacuum with me. And like my work vacuum that I carry in my car, we also my company or not my company, but the company I work for has vacuums. And, they're usually on jobs, but occasionally, I use my vacuum on a job. And but I always take it home every night. Which I get picked on a little bit for, but I don't give a fuck. I need my fucking vacuum. Because if I break something that I gotta vacuum now, I live in complete chaos and filth. Having that said, like, occasionally, even in my own chaotic filth, there's something that, like, breaches the boundary. So if I break a bunch of glass, well, that's going to break my skin. Definitively. Definitely. No ifs, ands, or buts. Gotta have my vacuum. But there's also other things too. I can't remember. I feel like there's something. Maybe it was something else. I can't remember. But what else would definitely, right? I got mold here or there, a little fungi, a little mildew, food scraps, tobacco, dust. Even in the cleanest house, human skin, dust everywhere. So it's like you don't got to go far below that before not like, and that's in an immaculate, hermetically sealed, $1,000,000,000 house. You got dead skin on everything. Well, you just gotta go around. I try to keep poop off stuff. How's that? It's a vicious world, and I have to reconcile my petty concerns with my real concerns. Or rather, I have to disregard my petty concerns, focus more on my real concerns, and more on the ways that I can make an effect on my real concerns. Like the butchery, not just of human existence, but of existence. And as butcherous as humans are, even in our most worst, here's the thing. Like, this is unfortunately, this is a cogent philosophical point. Even Hitler. Right? This is a cogent philosophical point. So I'm not making a political statement. It's just he's the villain of the age, period. Perhaps Satan incarnate, right? However you split it, define it, rearrange it, he's the bad guy. Even he is not so brutal as 99% of the everyday, common, cutesy, doorstoop chipmunk. We are the only ones who can make a difference in the world that eats itself. And the only way we'll make waves amongst ourselves to alleviate this, to cure this, to kill this idea of butchery is if we look beyond ourselves. First, if we look to the extremities of ourselves, the most subjugated, the most in the shadows. And then from there, looking well beyond. We can do something about this, and only we can. At least now. Later on, maybe something else. But this is our chance. But yeah, the next video, I was disappointed in my little buddy, but I also, what I was going to say is the same day that I fed the chipmunk on the video a couple days back, at lunchtime that day I was feeding, it was the first time that he ate out of my hand, or maybe it was the day before, but the first time this chipmunk ate in my hand, right after, the mother who'd been protecting the babies came down and attacked the chipmunk. And I was like, hey, to the mother, She sat there for a minute. The chipmunk actually barely even moved at all. The mother sparrow flew off. Chipmunk kept eating the seeds out of my hand and shit. And I was like, cool. but like they compete. I mean, and chipmunks, so I learned online, and so I've seen since, is like chipmunks are very territorial and they like battle each other. Yet you can be sure they're watching each other to see what each other is watching. So even as they battle each other, they're protecting each other and they're not killing each other. They're competing in a non-kill way. But with the baby bird, it's going to eat it. So I looked up today, I didn't know, apparently. And then first thing I looked up, I Googled chipmunks eat birds. It was, gave all the stuff that chipmunks like to eat, which is a lot of shit. And it said, they'll eat worms, nestlings, baby mice. Baby birds, baby mice. But also, like part of it, because before the chipmunk attacked it, it smelled the bird. The chipmunk has been attacked by something that smells like that. So it wasn't just like there was hatred there, and it was hatred built upon vengeance, and it was hatred built upon being attacked. You know what I'm saying? But then the chipmunk eats the bird, so then the mama bird attacks the chipmunk. Supposedly birds are, closer to dinosaurs. People were always this way until some of them weren't.